I was 29 when I first seriously thought I was living someone else's life, work, office, deadlines. A boss, texting even on weekends. Apartment. A mortgage for 20 years. Relationship. Let's talk later. For the third year in a row. Everything was kind of Norby, I thought. If all of this disappeared tomorrow, would I even understand? Would I get lost? One evening, I was coming home on the last train. In the carriage, there were a couple of students, a woman with shopping bags, and a man around 60 in an old coat. He sat across from me and kept turning a crumpled envelope in his hands. At one of the stops, the carriage almost emptied. The man suddenly asked, "You don't like your life, do you?" The question was so direct that I did realize at first he was talking to me. "What makes you think that?" I managed to say, "Your face." He smirked. "People who are happy have different eyes." When I was your age, I also thought everything was still ahead of me. And then it turned out that ahead of me, there were only medical tests and pharmacy discounts. He held the envelope out to me. "Here. This is not an ad. Just a chance. Today I was supposed to do late. You're not. Not yet." I took the envelope automatically, and he got off at the next station at home. I threw the envelope on the table and went to take a shower. My phone was blinking with messages from my boss and my girlfriend, and in my head his phrase kept echoing, "I'm already too late." When I came out, it was almost midnight. The apartment was completely quiet. I opened the envelope and pulled out a folded sheet of paper. On top, it said, "A letter to myself." Not the one I am today, but the one who still believes everything can be changed. The handwriting was neat, slightly shaky. "Hi. If you're really reading this, it means you still have time. Kindergarten, school, university, wedding, mortgage, job. No one ever asked what I wanted. The only thing that mattered was not falling behind the schedule. At 30, I dreamed of changing my profession, moving to another city, learning to play guitar, and finally saying no to people who were dragging me down. But every time there was a reason to wait. Salary, kids, loan, bad timing. Do you know when it really became too late? Not when I got old. When I got used to it. I got used to enduring a job I hated, to living with a person we sat in silence with at the same table, to not looking in the mirror because I did. I'd want to see the fatigue in my eyes. I got used to the thought that my life was just background noise for other people's stories. Now, I have a diagnosis that sounds like a sentence, and there's no dramatic movie scene here. Just the feeling that I signed that sentence myself by postponing my own life for late. I have a list of things I never did. Not because I couldn't, but because there was always someone more important than me. If everything in your life is stayed, and ask yourself, is it stability or a swamp? When was the last time you did something truly yours? Not because you like supposed to. Here is my only piece of advice, and it cost me my life. Choose one thing you've been putting off for a long time, and do it within the next 72 hours. Not in a month, not when things calm down. Now. Want to change jobs? Start sending out your resume. Want to leave someone you're miserable with? Say that you are miserable. Want to move? At least find tickets and a place to stay and save them in your bookmarks. Want to learn something new? Enroll in a course. Hate your reflection? Take the first step. A doctor, a gym, or just a daily walk. You don't have to destroy everything. But you owe it to yourself to choose yourself at least once. When you start doubting, remember me. I am you, the one who never dared. The fear will pass. The habit of living someone else's life, won't you still have 72 hours? After that, you start looking for excuses. Don't give yourself that right. Sincerely, the man who waited too long. I read the last line several times. On my phone screen, messages from my boss and my girlfriend. We really need to talk. And I suddenly realized, if I once again reply to everyone except myself, nothing will ever change. I opened my notes app and wrote 3 words. My 72 hours. That night, I did 2 things I'd been postponing for years. I sent my resume to a company I'd always dreamed of working for, and I wrote an honest message to my girlfriend without any "we'll discuss it late." In the morning, I woke up with a simple feeling. Maybe everything around me was still the same. But for the first time, I was driven by fear of losing something. I was driven by the desire to finally gain something. Myself. If you're listening to this and realizing you're living by someone else's instructions, ask yourself one question.